Hey guys, so now we're going to be doing waist and hip measurements. So again, it's really important for these measurements that we remain very professional and courteous and everything, because again, this is pretty intimate stuff, and so you don't want to make anybody uncomfortable at all. So just make sure you have this tape measure here. It has a little plastic thing on the end which goes up to about the 5 centimeter mark, and when you do your measurements, you're going to make sure that the red SECA button is on top, so that when you come around, the little plastic piece can slide into this groove on the other side, and you take your measurement by looking at essentially where the line of the measure hits the tape. So what you're going to do is ask your participant, so Jessica, would you mind just take the plastic tip thing here and put it at your belly button, and then go ahead and turn all the way around to your right, please. As your participant turns, make sure that the tape remains as level as possible, so make sure it's a straight line all the way around, and then have your participant slide the plastic end piece into the groove. Thanks very much. And then just press the top button so that your tape tightens up. Not so much that it cuts into them or anything, but just enough that it stays tight. So, and then ask your participant to take a deep breath in and release it all the way. There you go. Then you'll just read the measurement as it appears there. Take a note of it, write it down, and then to release, just go ahead and press the button, pull out, and then you can remove the plastic end piece from the groove. You'll go ahead and take 2 measurements, each of the waist and hip. So for hip, what you'll have them do is find basically the widest part of their hip, which is not actually up where their pelvic bones sit, but closer to basically the widest part of the hips and butt. And so usually what we ask them to do is go ahead and flex your leg, and you can kind of feel there's like a place where there's a crease right where that bone sits in the
Feel my bone
hip
popping
joint.
out.
Yeah,
Yep.
great. So if you feel that right where that bone pops out, go ahead and hold the plastic tip right there. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then once again, making sure that the tape stays level, go ahead and have them turn all the way around to their right. And then have them slide the end piece into the tape measure. Let it tighten up. Take your measurement. And once again, to release, go ahead and press the button, pull out, and you can remove the plastic end. It's also important to remember that obviously, because it can be an uncomfortable situation, a lot of time people will want to take their measurements quickly and get out of there as quickly as possible. We don't want to make our participants uncomfortable, but we do need to make sure that we have really accurate measurements. So just make sure to take your time, take as many measurements as you need to get, again, as close to that 0.5 mark, a 0.5 of a centimeter mark as possible. And make sure that you write down all of your data in the data collection sheet. And now we have three measurements. There's 3 spaces for measurements per category. But if you need to take a 4th one, it's no big deal. Just make sure to note in the comments that you took a 4th waist or hip measurement, or height or weight. Also, if they're wearing any baggy clothing or don't want to take out their ponytail or have anything in their pockets, that kind of thing, make sure to make a note of it in the comment section here, just so that we have as accurate data as possible. And that's pretty much it. All right, thanks very much, guys. That's how you take height, weight, waist, and hip measurements. Make sure that if you have any questions, of course, just to find a core team member. We'll be happy to help you out. It's also really important to remember that height and weight are really important measurements for our data, but we don't want to overemphasize them. A lot of people, of course, put a lot of value on their own height and weight. So just try not to make it too big of a deal for the students. If they ask what their height is or what their weight is, you can give them the raw measurement in either centimeters or kilograms, but encourage them to take it home and do the conversions instead. We don't want to be giving them that information on site, especially since it's kind of sensitive and you don't want other people overhearing. Also, make sure again to use your comment section if you have a participant who either is missing some of their information For example, if they didn't feel comfortable taking weights, which sometimes happens, make sure to put down that they refuse to do it. Or if they were wearing a baggy sweater, or had anything in their pockets, or had a big ponytail, just make sure to make a comment of that. And again, any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to find one of the core team members and we'll help you out. Thanks, guys.